Okay, second video for layers. I have now completed inserting or creating and naming all of my layers. I have changed all of their colors, line types, line weights per my preferences, and again, no print and viewport layers are both here on plot or print. They have the no-go red circle and slash. I've mentioned before about sorting. If I select the column title, it will sort them ascending or descending order. Not just the name, but whether they're on, frozen, locked, color, for example. Click it here. Red, technically, if I click on this red color, I remember that red, here it shows the index color, number 1, 2, 3, 4 through 9. And then we start here 10, 12, 14, 20, 22, 24, 11, 13, so on and so forth. Evens up here, odds down here. And so that is what it is sorting the colors off of. This is color number 1. Green is color number 3. Blue 5, so on and so forth. So again, cyan, blue, magenta, down to white, which is number 7. Then we get in the 40s, 90s, 200s. Same with line type, line weight. I can see everything that is either default or 0.024 inch or 0.6 millimeter. If you have already done your line weights assignment, these are basically the only two line weights that you're going to go off of for the standards. ASME, American Society of Mechanical Engineers, they basically have thick or thin, thick or thin. We're going to use the 0.024, 0.6 millimeters as the thick, and then the default, which is a 0.01 inch. Off the top of my head, 0.3, just under 0.3 millimeters, and so on. So enough here. I am going to go ahead and resize this a little bit, knowing that I've pretty much covered everything. I don't need it to be larger this way. And I'm going to show you a few different files here in a second that'll explain that to you. Auto hide, pop it out, shows everything I might want to. I can still resize this. This is pretty good. Now later you'll see that there will be additional items to select. For now I'm going to leave that alone. So I'm going to create a few things. I've got a couple lines, a circle, and right here it tells me what current layer I am on, 0. So these exist. Also, if I select here, this would change to show me if it's on a different layer. This is the current layer. I didn't want that. I wanted object to be, here it shows check mark next to 0. I want object to be my current layer. Now I double clicked it, or I could select the layer and then do the check mark here, but a lot of times double clicking. Now actually I didn't even need to come into this window. If I let that close, I can go right here, drop this down, and select whichever layer I want to be current. For example, no print. Hover here, I see no print has the check mark next to it. If I double click on object, I see up above from my cursor now on the ribbon that object is now the current layer. So this is actually your quickest, easiest way to change layers. Additionally, I changed my mind. I want object layer to be red, and I can select it right here. I can turn it on, off, freeze it, thaw it, lock it, change its color, and or change the current layer. So again, this is the quickest and the easiest. I'm going to put it back to number 7, white, and revision block shows it's current. No, I want object layer to be current, so I don't have to redo these. Again, I created those, I select them, and it shows on the 0 layer. So I can put those where they belong on the object layer. Now another thing is, wait a minute, let's see, object layer, it is white, and they were drawn in white, but the line type is shown as continuous, and I'm not sure why. This gets to be real frustrating. Continuous is what those are supposed to be in, but obviously they are in a dashed or a hidden line type. Here is why. right here, I taught you about the properties panel and the properties window, which I have hidden right here. And I told you, even though I was going to teach this to you, I'm going to later then express my deepest desire for you never to use this. Well, not never, seldom. I want you to be very careful using this. The reason is these are what's called overrides. These are they're temporary as long as they say this, but or as long as you have it selected. But they are an override per or from the layer controls or layer properties manager controls. So if you want to manage your drawing effectively, please be very, very, very cautious and or try to refrain from using your properties window. In this case, I'm going to select hidden, which is why these are shown in hidden. Even if I hover, it'll show that they're going to change. And in this case, I don't want continuous, I want by layer. Okay, color, line weight, line types, you want all of these to say by layer, if at all possible, so that all you have to do is make a change here in the settings in your layer properties manager window, and all those changes or settings will take effect in your drawing. Now, I escape. These are now by layer, but I'm still in the hidden, so I'm going to change that back to by layer as well. So I'm in the object layer. Again, I drop it down. Here is why I have this space bar for no print. I want no print to be the first one that pops up here. Why? Because if I get a bunch of these, even if I resort this, or you know what, I'm going to sort by color, and I drop it down, this window here, this drop down, is still in alphanumeric order for the layer name. So I like seeing this. There are several drawings that I'll do. The more complex and the more advanced you get in AutoCAD, you may have several. The actual CAD layer standards are well over 100 different layers. They're pretty much code. The company you work for will likely have a template file that has all the layers, the layer naming convention that they want to use. Just to give you an example, I have some of the other drawings I've done. Now this is all of the drawings from MD4, all those sheets. You see that I've got all these boxes. These boxes are just simply real quick organizational tools windows used to identify where each of the drawings are. Additionally, inside of those, you see that I have each of the center lines. Not only are they red, not only are they a center line type, you see as I select them, they are on a center line layer. It's very simple. If I decide I don't want to see any center lines, turn it off, and all I see are the objects. This one here tells me what? They are red, but their red is in color, not by layer like they should be, and they're also on the object layer. That is not correct. That's not the way they should be. So I put them on the center layer. You see it pops up saying, hey, a couple things you've selected have been moved to a frozen or a turned off layer, and that's correct. That's what I want. At any time, go back and turn this back on, and everything's there. Now this has to do with line type scale, 0.5, and it looks like it's still a little too large. 25, oh, there it is. This is a large drawing, must have been in metric, so I needed to increase the line type scale. And again, the blue is a no print layer, meaning it will not print if I were to send this. I can look at this here, print this window as is, or select all of this window right here to print, and only the object inside of there will print. So no print layer is very useful, very useful. Another reason for layers, so I can get this video to close, is here's a good example of some of the work I do, some of the food processing, taking ethanol the byproducts of ethanol production and turn it into some other products for chicken feed and animal feed. If I did not have layer controls, such as for different colors, different line types, line weights, whatever it may be, to identify everything here. Now, I still have these as somewhat of a phantom line, but if I didn't have these controls, that's a little bit more blinding, a little more difficult to identify everything that's going on. This right here being ductwork up here, everything's blending in, not at all good. If I go here, I can see, okay, that must be two different things of ductwork. For example, this one comes from the top of this cyclone and out all the way over, where this one here is out this cyclone and comes back. Regardless, not that you need to understand all of that. Again, it's just a lot easier to see. Cyclones are separators, machines or items that swirl air in a circular fashion, and it separates solids. It's real easy to see the yellow or the orange here being the structural units, structural steel that is holding these green units being the cyclones themselves. So again, colors, line types, line weights, definitely a very useful tool to be able to tell the difference between one item or certain objects and others. And then layer control. If I didn't have layers, there's no way in the world I would go into messing with all these different colors and line weights, line types for those different objects. Again, no way in the world without layers. So I'm going to bring this one to a close, and if need be, I believe this should be all for now.